Hello and welcome to my bakery. Today we will make all the preparations for the monastery bread, which we will bake tomorrow. And for this bread we will need 240 grams of fresh sourdough. So the first preparation for today is feeding the Lievito madre. And I've just taken it from the fridge, and we need quite a lot, 140 grams. That's fine. And then we will add 70 grams of warm water. And stir that. So that's a bit tough at the beginning, but the madre will dissolve in a few minutes, and I will show you in a moment what it looks like. So at the beginning it is rather lumpy, but as you can see now it's quite smooth. So okay, and now we can add wheat flour, that is 550, and that is 140 grams. You add it to the bowl, and you can just use your spoon to stir it and begin to combine the mixture, and then you just transfer it to your work surface, and you can use the scraper. Okay, and then you will need your hands to fold in the flour, and it's a rather sticky procedure at the beginning, but it will get nicer and more dough-like after a few minutes. So you see that now after a couple of minutes it looks like a dough, and I've made the experience when you just roll it, it is not sticky in a short time. So good, then you can put the ball into your jar. Now you should really use a bigger jar than normally for your Lievito madre, because it's quite a lot. And you cover it, and then you let it sit and rise and proof, well, depending on the activity of your madre, for 5 to 8 hours. So you should check every hour if it has risen, at least doubled, maybe tripled. For our monastery bread, we also need to prepare a soaker. And this time the soaker consists of old bread. That means I have dried leftovers of bread cut into cubes, and then I roasted the cubes in the oven for 20 minutes at 180 degrees circulating air. We need 150 grams of old bread for our monastery bread. After the cubes were roasted in the oven, I ground them. And you want to have a look? So this is the ground bread. It should be brownish. You can also grind it finer if you want to, but it's okay like this. So I said 150 grams, and now I'm adding 300 grams of boiling water. And this old bread will add not only a nice taste, but also quite a different texture, because we incorporate a lot of water here. So you stir that, and then you cover it. So you should prepare it at least, I'd say, 30 minutes up to 2 hours before you start making the main dough. I like to prepare it the day before, let it cool down a bit for an hour maybe, and then I will put it into the fridge until the next day. Let's continue with our monastery bread. As you can see from the ingredients on the table, that is quite a complex bread. So we have a lot of ingredients, and I will talk about them in a moment. In the mixing bowl, I have already put the 3 kinds of flour. That is 400 grams of rye flour. Here you are rather flexible. You can use 1150, or you can use Alps rye flour or light rye, which is Lichtkorn in German. And 500 grams of wheat flour type 550 and 500 grams of wheat flour type 1050. Now I will add the water, and the recipe says 920 grams. I have now here 850, and I will leave 70 grams for later, depending on the texture of the dough. Okay, I'll put that in. Then we will add the salt. It is 40 grams of salt, 10 grams of yeast, and then I will show you the blue fenugreek. This is a spice. It's called Schabzigerklee in German. It's a spice that you can use, and it gives a nice taste to the bread. You can also use bread spice, which is a mixture of caraway, coriander, anise, fennel, or you can use 1 or 2 of those. So in any case, this is 8 grams, and it's called blue fenugreek. Good. Then we'll add 2 tablespoons of active malt. You can use powder, or you can use a fluid one. 2 tablespoons. Okay. Then we will add 2 tablespoons of the rye sourdough starter. You can take that from the fridge. Okay. 1 and 2. Good. Then we prepared, or we fed the Lievito madre yesterday. It had risen up to here approximately, and I put it into the fridge after 5.5 hours yesterday. If you want to bake in the afternoon, you can also feed the Lievito madre in the morning and then leave it at room temperature to proof, and then continue immediately. That is no problem. And yeah, it's even better than having it in the fridge overnight. So we will need 240 grams of that. I prepared a bit more so that I have left over for the next feeding. Okay, so this is quite a lot. 240 grams. Okay, good. And this is also a good recipe for you where you can use your discard madre, the leftover from the last feeding. So I will also put that in. It's not that active anymore, but it gives a nice texture and taste to the bread. And you don't need to throw it away. Of course, you can also bake something else with it, as you like it. Okay, so now we have everything. And no, we don't. We don't have the kneading hook. Okay. And now we will knead the dough slowly for 8 minutes and then a bit faster for 4 minutes. So start very slowly because there's a lot of water in it, so that the dough can be mixed first. And then you can turn the speed up a bit. So I will add the water that I have reserved, 70 grams, slowly, not too much at a time, because in my opinion the dough is not yet soft enough. So I will add the rest as well. So let's take the dough out. So you see, as it says in the recipe, don't be shocked, the dough is rather soft and sticky. And now we will put it into the proofing box and let it sit at room temperature for 1 hour. We don't need to stretch and fold this dough. So, my dears, I was just wondering why this dough is so light in color, because normally it's much darker. And then I remembered I forgot to put in our old bread soaker. So normally you would put that in at the beginning, of course. Okay, I think I need another cup of coffee. I will put it in now and knead the dough a little bit longer and see how it turns out. So you see, everything may happen if you don't have enough coffee or tea. Good. Okay, let's see if it turns out nicely. Otherwise, I will have to start from scratch again. And I can tell you, if I have to start from scratch again, my cameraman is very expensive. So now the dough is in the proofing box. I'll just fold it over a bit and cover it, and we leave it at room temperature for 1 hour. So the dough has been sitting at room temperature for 1 hour now, and it has risen considerably. So I'll put the box on the scale, and now we need quite a lot of flour on the work surface. So let it slide out. Here we go. So weigh your box again, and then you know that the dough weight is 3 kilos and 270 grams. So 3,271 or 70 divided by 4 makes 820. About 820 per bread. And then flour your proofing baskets. I will take 4 round ones, but alternatively you can also take 2 big round ones or 2 long ones. I've decided to bake the monastery bread on the fire break, but you can also bake it in the pot as you like it. So then the proofing basket, of course, depends on the shape and size of your pot. So let's see, 820. Okay, good. So as I said, this dough is sticky, so it's best to use 2 scrapers. A little bit more. Okay. Again, we need more flour. Push it underneath the dough and then fold it in from the outside and turn at the same time, and also incorporate quite a big amount of rye flour in the center, because this will then be upwards when baking and it will jump open nicely. Okay, so this seam goes to the bottom of your proofing basket. So you turn it over and tighten it and then put it in the basket. Good. Next round. So this is now the 4th one, and it goes in here. Okay. So now we have those 4 small breads, or as I said, you have 2 bigger breads. I will cover them. And since we can only bake 2 small or 1 big bread at a time, I will leave 2 bread doughs at room temperature, and I will put the other 2 into the fridge. I started preheating the oven 45 minutes ago, and it is set on upper and lower heat and 250 degrees. I also put in my fire brick and the lava stones, so everything is nicely preheated. And I will now put the breads onto the rimless baking tray so that I can put it easily into the oven. So this one looks nice. I think it will tear up a bit more. I think this one can get a little bit of help. So you can also score it. I will not score this one. I will score this one, and then we can have a look after baking. So let's make 3 cuts. So, okay, good. Put them in and then steam. Good. Now I will bake the bread at 250 degrees for 10 minutes. Then I will turn the temperature down to 210 degrees, and I will also at the same time open the oven door so that the steam can go out. And I will bake the bread for another 40 minutes at 210 degrees. So the bread has been in the oven for 50 minutes now, 10 minutes at 250 and for 40 minutes at 210 degrees. I will take it out now. And look at this bread. That's the sound we want. Okay, so look, this is the bread that we didn't score, and it has opened very nicely, rustic way. And this is the bread we scored. So I like the two of them. So I will now turn the oven up to 250 again and give it a few minutes to heat up. And then I will bake the second batch. And look, that's what the dough should look like. Yeah. Yes, you will bake these breads number 3 and 4 accordingly, or in another case, your second bread if you have decided to bake 2 big breads. And we will let it cool down and then look inside. Look at those 4 beautiful breads. So let's look inside. That's a crust, isn't it? Yeah.